Hey everybody, Paul Humila here, Dream Guitars, giving you the lowdown on baritone guitars. Many of you might know that I'm a baritone player. I'm a big champion for baritone as an instrument and type of guitar to inspire you. Obviously, we have different scale length guitars, and many years ago there were guitar orchestras where they would have small requinto guitars and then a normal guitar and bigger guitars. And of course, if you picture a mariachi band, you see different sized guitars and big old basses. So it makes really good sense that we'll have different scale lengths on guitars to give a different sound and, more importantly, a different mood. And that's really why I play baritone guitar. So today I wanted to just talk to you about what a baritone is, some ideas about tunings and strings and things, and then I'm also going to do sort of a back-to-back comparison, playing a few things on normal scale guitar and then on baritone, just so you can hear the mood shift. And that's really the point I'd like to get across today. So let's have some fun. So first, let me introduce my lovely assistants today. This is a Ralph Bound guitar from England. This is a 1995 baritone guitar, much like the one that Martin Simpson played when I met him so many years ago. And this is a Bill Tippin Forte guitar, a guitar that's sort of blowing everybody's mind here in the shop right now. So you'll see that on the website soon as well. So the Bound will be our baritone that's tuned down, and the Tippin will be the normal standard pitch guitar. So what is a baritone? First and foremost, it's long strings. So typical baritone guitar like this one is 28.5-inch scale. So it's about 3 inches longer than normal scale length on a guitar. And then they come in variations, of course. Some builders do them around 27 or so, and then some builders do up to 29 I've seen. I feel like, in all my experience playing many of them over the years, it takes about 28 to be getting into the really good baritone sound, and 28.5 seems to be a sweet spot. So my personal guitars tend to be in the 28.5 range. I really like it, but of course, whatever works for you. The one thing I want to say about strings is what's on here right now, what you'll be hearing today, is a baritone set of strings. This is the standard set that D'Addario sells for baritone guitar, meaning, again, 28, 29-inch scale, not the short scale baritones that, I really don't think of a 27-inch guitar as a baritone, but some companies do make them, but they just don't get low enough for me. So these are 17 on the top string and 70 on the bottom. So big fat strings, again, necessary because of the long span that they're covering to hold some tension and get a really nice low growl. So the end result is you have a guitar that you can play everything you already know. I've got this right now in standard tuning, just relatively, but it's just tuned down. The whole thing is tuned down, so instead of a low E, it's a low B. And depending on the strings and the guitar, you can vary that. A lot of my guitars, I can get down to G, or A and B and B flat. So anywhere in that range between G and B, depending on the scale length of the guitar, of course, how the top is braced, and then the gauge strings you put on it. You can have fun playing in different pitches. So that's the first thing I want to get across. It's not like baritone is always to E or to B or to A. It can vary depending on all of those other factors. You just need to check with the builder of your guitar and be careful that you're using the right tension strings. But generally speaking, we're going so low that it's not adding tension. So for me, the magic that happens on a baritone guitar is just the total shift in the mood. So I can play a very similar thing on this guitar, and they're going to sound and feel totally different. You probably have heard me say over the years that I play guitar because I'm a songwriter, so that's why I even play the instrument. So when there's a beautiful different sound or mood, it takes me a different place in my songwriting. So if I sit down with a 6-string regular guitar, or I sit down with a baritone or a nylon string banjo, it takes me different directions. So that's the way I build my own collection. It's out of inspiration. So let's do a little back and forth. So here's a regular guitar, a Tippin Forte guitar, and standard tuning, standard strings. So these are light gauge strings, 12 to 53. But I'm going to play the same progression on this, and then I'll pick up the baritone guitar just so you can start to hear the difference. And now on the baritone. So there you go, not better or worse, just different, and that's the whole idea. So obviously if I pick up this guitar, I'm going to probably play something different or a different mood or a different style than I would on that guitar. In my songwriting, I can tell you what's happened to me a few times is I'll write something on a regular guitar, move it to baritone, and it usually comes out being more emotional, a little bit more sensitive. Maybe I slow it down. It just takes me these different places. Or conversely, sometimes I write something funky and it just works way better on the baritone for obvious reasons of being more in a lower range. So now I'm going to go to dadgad tuning and show you how an alternate tuning does the same thing. Many of us playing dadgad on standard guitar, take it down to baritone, you get a different feel. So here we go. So there you go. We heard a couple different samples in standard and dadgad on a regular guitar tuned to regular pitch, and then a baritone guitar tuned down. The last thing I'd like to talk about is just strings. I'm a big fan of experimenting with strings. So I usually have a box of every kind of gauge possible, and depending on the song I'm writing and the song I'm recording, I will change the strings. This is something a lot of players don't ever do, and you should. I think it's fine to experiment with strings. Just be mindful of tension. If you're going down in pitch, you can go a little higher in the strings. And again, talk to the maker of your guitar, call us, get some ideas so that you do it safely. But generally speaking, it's no problem. You'll know by the tension of the strings if the guitar is happy or not. But be careful, first and foremost. But if I wanted to go down even further, so this is the equivalent of dadgad now on this guitar, but tuned down to A. If I want to go down to G on the bass, I'm going to need a fatter string. So there's already a 70 on here, but I might go up quite a bit. 75, 76, whatever. And I have boxes of individual strings I'll just experiment with. So just something I wanted to throw out there, that depending on what you're doing on the guitar, it's okay to manipulate the strings a bit as long as you're careful about everything else. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it gave you a little bit more of an idea of what a baritone guitar most importantly, can do for inspiration. That's really all I care about with guitars. They're all beautiful, they all play great. How do they affect you, and do they make you want to play and put some music in the universe? So thanks y'all for listening. Paul here at Dream Guitars.